I think I've clicked all the buttons. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've dialed all the knobs. Okay. I think we're live. I think you guys can hear me. We had some sound issues yesterday. I hope those are fixed. I hope that you can understand me, right? You can hear me, John, from the web. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the show. My guest for tonight is going to be with us shortly. McFiston, always a pleasure. Nice to see you. How are you? I hope everyone's excited today. Okay, we got some stuff to cover. Monday. Was it Monday? Maybe it was Tuesday. Oh, time is a construct. Earlier in the week, I did a show about some of Trump's cabinet appointments as they were coming out. Marco Rubio, Mike Waltz, Stefanski, a few others, right? And these were reasonable picks. Not maybe my choices, but I'd been like, okay, I can understand it. I could see it. Maybe it won't be so bad. Right? Maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe I've been overreacting. Maybe I've been like doomering, and maybe this is just going to be normal, right? Kind of just standard Republican normal stuff, right? Joke's on me, gang. Since I've said that, he has nominated Matt Gaetz, the guy who's under ethics investigations for fucking a 17-year-old as Attorney General. Tulsi, I'm totally not a Russian spy, Gabbard. And RFK, I don't believe in vaccines, Jr. to the health and human services. So, yeah. Yay! Not less than 72 hours to make me a liar. Wonderful. Great. Oh, we're going to talk about it. It's going to be great. Let's bring the guest on. My guest of the evening. Hello, welcome. You're live.
Hello. Can you hear me good?
Oh, wow. I can't hear you at all.
Oh.
Like at all. Is that on me? Hold on.
I have the green light.
Do I think she's a Russian spy? I don't know. I know she does Russian talking points, but I don't know if she's a spy or not. She's a dangerous pick for a lot of reasons, but I think the spy's hyperbole, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked into it enough. Matt Gaetz, however, I have looked into, and Matt Gaetz, I wouldn't let him watch my niece, okay? I wouldn't let him watch my kid. No way. I wouldn't let him around any women folk in my life, in fact.
Still can't hear me, huh?
I mean, I would, and it's not just me. Republicans wouldn't either. This is a known thing, right? A lot of Republicans have that opinion about Matt Gaetz. But we'll get into it. We'll read a little. We'll look a little. We'll talk a little. Yeah, I know my guest is silent. I think he's fixing his audio.
I think the audio is working.
Yeah, I still can't hear you, buddy. Are you just down low? No, I'll turn you up 200%. Try again.
Test.
Better, but keep going.
Oh, hang on. How's that better?
Yes, a little better. You're still a little low.
How about now?
Much better. I don't know what you did.
Okay. I was weirded out. I was like, I'm showing, I'm lighting up green on Discord, so obviously it's getting my sound. I just didn't know. I must have hit my knob on my interface.
Yeah. A lot of people yesterday were mad at me on the left because I was talking about some of the bad shit that the left was doing. Okay. Now, today, at least part of our discussion is going to be the right's turn. So buckle in, buttercups. I'm an equal opportunity caller outer of bullshit. So we will be calling out some bullshit today. But first, foremost, before we get into any of that, Elder Drazi, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I've been better, but I'm doing okay, making the best of things. I'm happy. I'm really happy that you agreed to have this conversation with me because there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that I don't know about. Um, and I know that if nothing else, you talk to more people about the things that I'm interested in right now than probably anybody I know. Although I don't know how much good information you pull out of it on some of them. Um,
Well, we had the conversation anyway. Do you have a camera for us today?
oh yeah, shit. I'm sorry. I accidentally shut off my computer right when I sat down, so I've been scrambling.
It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Nice to see you, by the
You
way.
see
It's
me
been a
now?
while.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, looking good, buddy.
Also, I want to say I have I used to be diagnosed OCD, but now I guess it's just obsessive compulsive tendencies. And one of the things is when people change their face, it really messes with me. When you
Sorry.
shaved your beard, it's a lot. I didn't know how bad it was until people were able to take their masks off, and it was. I've never had so much anxiety just being out in the world. Oh my god, there's people that I never seen without a mask ever, not having them, and so it's gonna take some getting used to for sure. Me being able to see your chin.
I know it's crazy a little bit, right? I don't know.
Yeah, you get a lot of comments.
Yeah, a lot of comments. Some people like it, some people don't. Most people don't. Most people want the beard back, and I get it, right? I get it. But
I, I I just don't like it because it's different. There's nothing wrong with it per se. I'm just it just interacts with my particular mental illness that you changed your face.
some dude
Yeah.
paid me $500 to do it, and I'll do it again, right?
Oh shit! Is that what happened?
Yeah, they're like, I'll give you $500 if you shave your beard live on stream, and I was like, okay. I'll do
Oh
that twice on Sunday, right? Like, okay, give me the razor. Let's go, right?
yeah, I'd cut my hair if somebody was like, "I'll give you $500 to cut your hair."
Yeah,
That's super fair. All right. Well,
obviously, right? Like, why wouldn't I?
they pay up.
Yeah, went to my
Oh
PayPal.
wow,
So,
that's good.
well, I
Did you get the money
trusted this guy
first?
because he'd paid me some money before for other things, right? So, I mean, I knew he was good for it.
Uh, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, I couldn't. I can't blame you in the least. That's a sweet payday to just shave your beard.
Yeah, 30 minutes of work, $500.
Yeah. I guess before we get started, can I plug my fundraiser real quick?
By all means, go ahead, do what you need to do.
Not everybody knows. Things have not been super great for me. I recently got divorced, and it's been tough trying to find like where I'm gonna be. A friend of mine has a place for me in Hawaii. But there's some cost involved with getting my dog over there. They require rabies antigen tests because it's a rabies free island. And that's all really expensive. And just getting our plane tickets there, and then like we have a set plan. We know what we're doing. I'm selling most of my material belongings before I go, and they're giving me the time and space to just sort of deal with everything that's been going on. I don't have to get a job right away when I'm there. I can just be 10 minutes away from the ocean and figure my shit out. So any help that anybody can give is greatly appreciated. On my stream, I have my PayPal link. It's paypal.me/DraziElder.
DM me
100% of
that
it
link and
goes.
I'll put it in my chats.
Thank you. And 100% of that goes to helping getting myself and my dog Kiora to the new place that we're going to be living.
Yeah, sure. Once he DMs me it, I'll put it in the YouTube and I'll put it in the Twitch. And if you have a few bucks, right, feel free to send it his way. Drazi's struggling right now, as he says, and we help a brother who struggles. Okay, solidarity. Okay, right?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we do what we can.
All right, I sent that over to you. So, what do you want to go over first? I've been
So much, right?
looking at the pics.
Yeah.
It feels like the Onion is writing reality right now, like unironically. I can't. It's these are jokes that we would make. Like, if you just go back like 3 months before we had any whiff of what was going to be going on, I feel like these are the things that we would like you would approach somebody who's going to vote for Trump. Like, what if they put RFK in charge of health? They wouldn't even have a good answer for that because it's so cartoonish. Or what Matt Gaetz is laughable. It's weird. I don't even. That one's weird. I don't even understand.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Matt Gaetz for a moment because while I'm not sure he's the worst of the three, in fact, I'm pretty sure he's not. I think that it shows to me a special kind of hypocrisy that exists on the right. Right? A lot of them have been very concerned about certain allegations against Democrats for various sex pest stuff, right? Very concerned, right? Always like, please release the Epstein list. I bet a bunch of Clintons are in there. That kind of thing, right? Then we have Matt Gaetz, who for years has had credible, in my opinion, accusations against him that have been dropped, to be fair, by the DOJ because the DOJ didn't think the witnesses would be able, like a jury wouldn't be convinced by the witnesses. So they dropped the charges. That doesn't mean he's not guilty, right? So the House has taken up the investigation. They've been investigating for the last couple of years. They were going to release their report on the investigation, like their findings. They were going to release that on Friday. So tomorrow.
Oh.
But they can't now. Do you know why they can't?
Because he was announced as a cabinet pick?
Because he resigned. That isn't what did it. Because yesterday, Wednesday, he resigned. And so it was no longer under their jurisdiction. Right? So now they can't officially release the report. So I don't know what that report says. But does it not
That's
at
the most
least
guilty shit there is.
Does it not at least throw up a red flag? Right? To my Republican viewers, right? Does it not throw up at least a red flag that 2 days before a release of a report on whether or not you did sexual stuff with a 17-year-old and a host of other allegations, right? This isn't just one allegation. There's a host of them, right? Before the House, the Republican House, to be clear, right? The Republican House Committee was going to release this report. This guy up and resign so that they can't.
Imagine this with any other job. Imagine if there's like a CFO of like Apple had an internal review, internal investigation being done about sexual assault within the company, and the day before they go to present it, he just quits his job. So that way there's nothing for them to present about. Like, you can't fire him or anything anymore. So he just steps down. In everybody's mind, he did that because he's guilty.
I mean, like, again, I want to see the report, right? Because I don't want to accuse an innocent man, right? If the report exonerates him, let's see it. Let's see the evidence. Let's go through it. Let's talk about it, right? Now they can't.
I'm pretty fair.
I think it will get
I'm
leaked.
a pretty fair guy, but I feel like that's pretty objective. I hope it gets leaked.
I think it will. Yeah.
What's the saying? Like, the innocent don't run. Like, and in this circumstance, the only reason to run away from that, like, what is there any other legitimate reason why he would have to resign right now?
What's your IP says file a Freedom of Information Act to find out. Congress is immune to those.
It probably should be.
Yeah,
to some degree.
I mean, to some degree it is, right?
Did he state why he's stepping down?
Well, he's resigning because he was called as the appointment, right? So here's a timeline of events as we know him. He was on a plane with Trump. Okay, they were talking about appointments, and Trump releases announcement on Wednesday. I'm reporting Matt Gaetz. I think it was Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday he releases. Not sure. Might have been yesterday. Time is construct, but recently he announced his appointment. Okay, he announced his appointment, and then he resigns. Right, ostensibly because he's got to get ready to be appointed or whatever. Let me just read you real quick. This is from here. Let me see if I can have it up here. Okay. This is from the transom. A gentleman by the name of Ben Dominic For those of you who don't know, who aren't conservative scholars, which most of you have no reason to be, right? Ben Dominic is the co-founder of The Federalist. He's also an editor for The Spectator, and these are not lefty rags, okay? These are not leftist organizations. These are pretty right wing, okay? This is the title of his Substack. I don't know what it's called, right? Matt Gaetz is a vile. Here, do you mind if I just stream this real quick and you can read it together? Just go over it. Let's see.
What's the Substack called?
The Transom.
Oh, I gotcha.
Okay, if you guys want to follow along. Okay, and I'll just read it quickly. It's not long, and I think it's worth going over. Matt Gaetz is a vile sex pest, and any senator who votes for him owns that. Crush some Viagra and pour that Red Bull in your veins. I realize that we are occasionally given to hyperbole about the untoward nature of politicians, but let me be clear. Matt Gaetz is a sex trafficking, drug-addicted piece of shit. He is abhorrent. His eyes are permanently rimmed with the red stings of chemical boosters. In person, he smells like overexposed Axe body spray and stale Astroglide. The fact that he boasted on the floor to multiple colleagues in the House of Representatives of his methods of crushing Viagra and high-test Red Bull to maintain his erection through his orgiastic evenings is perhaps the least offensive of his many crimes against womanhood and Christian faith. The man has less principles than your average fentanyl-addicted hobo. He likes them underage, and he's not ashamed about it. Matt Gaetz isn't just your average extreme Florida MAGA man. He's a hypocritical ass with the worst Botox money can buy, pursuing an ever thinner nose and higher cheekbones at every opportunity, like a real housewife gone mad for fillers. Every Republican in Washington has an opinion about Matt Gaetz, and 99% of those opinions are, keep Matt Gaetz away from my wife, daughter, friend, and anyone I care about. He is a walking genital, warts included as a bonus. If I was merely attempting to count the number of women I know who have had bad experiences with Matt Gaetz, I would run out of fingers and toes. If you vote for him to be the Attorney General of the United States, you don't just need your head examined, you need to be committed to a mental institution. The man is absolutely vile. There are pools of vomit with more to offer the earth than this STD-riddled testament to the failure of fallen masculinity. Again, this isn't some lefty. This isn't some leftist. This is a Republican. This is a conservative. Let's just deal with facts. Did Matt Gaetz transport an underage woman across state lines with the stated intent of her having sex with him and his friends? Yes. Did he later claim to Tucker Carlson that this woman did not exist? Yes. Does this conflict with the fact that one of his closest friends was convicted of having sex with this underage woman for pay? Yes. Are Gaetz and his orgy friends attempting to destroy the record, image, videos, etc. from this sex party to protect his political future? Yes. Does this matter to Republicans? Who can say? Donald J. Trump has the best judgment in politics. Of course he would never name a sex-trafficking, drug-addled, lying, philandering piece of shit to be the Attorney General of the United States simply to avoid investigation. Or would he? Right? And this is a quote. Representative Matt Gaetz's resignation from Congress comes 2 days just before the House Ethics Committee was set to vote on releasing a highly damaging report outlining its investigation into the Republican. According to multiple sources familiar with the probe, the committee planned to vote Friday on releasing the report. Ethics loses its jurisdiction over Gaetz when he leaves Congress. The secretive panel has been investigating Gaetz on and off since 2021. President-elect Donald Trump announced that he would nominate Gaetz to be Attorney General Wednesday. And here's the real deal. Matt Gaetz is a line for how we assess the Republican Party. If they are truly a cult of personality beholden to Trump in ways that we could not even imagine for a party that rejects cults and idol worship, they will reprove this choice. But if they have a degree of independence, any kind of free thought, mindful of the fact that a presidency is 4 years but your career is forever, they will reject this choice so emphatically that it sends a very simple, straightforward message. You can be an absolute dirtbag wannabe pimp, pounding dick pills and caffeine while you film your girlfriend twerking on the gram, or you can be a Republican. The choice is yours. Damn. Look, this is not the only Republican conservative who has come out strongly against Gaetz. I, on my show, all the time, defend the Republicans who watch me and Republicans in general as not being evil. I think it's wrong when people say Republicans are evil, they're scum, etc. I think that's wrong. If the Republican senators appoint this man, I don't know what I may have to rethink my rethink my priors. I don't know. This is like I got some red lines. Fucking kids is one of those red lines. I don't know. That's just me. What are your thoughts here?
I just want to make sure that I get this. I just want to make sure that I understand the primary claim correctly. So the idea is that he had a 17-year-old transported to a state where it would be legal for him to fuck her because it wasn't where she was at.
I don't.
Did he move her to a? Is that what he?
He
Because
drove her across
that's
state
crazy.
lines. State line. That's the accusation. Yes, that he transported an underage woman across state lines to go to this party, this sex party they were having. This.
Okay. So it may not have even been for that. That's
It may not have been. He may not have been the one fucking her. Okay. But his friends were going, and one of his friends did, and is spending 11 years in jail for it. Right? Like,
okay. So he didn't even take her to a state where the age of consent was 16 instead of 8. It's you ever watch Parks and Recs?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a politician who's like constantly, every time they show him, he's like involved in a sex scandal that's getting exposed. And that's all I can think of. It's I said it just a little bit ago too. Like, it's cartoonish. It's the levels of corruption and abuse of power is just it's astounding. And ideally, this is exactly what people who want Donald Trump to be president want to get rid of in government.
Well, no, look,
they don't want people abusing.
Let me steelman the congressperson, or let me steelman the Republican who would want Matt Gaetz in this. Let me do it, because there's an argument here. Matt Gaetz is very anti-establishment, right? He's against corruption in government, etc. And they have reason to believe that he would do what they want when it comes to kind of cleaning house and getting rid of corruption in the DOJ, etc., etc. That's all fair, and that might even be true. But what I'm begging, pleading.
That's counter to my argument, though.
What do you mean?
Because my argument is that this is the kind of corruption. If I was a Trump supporting Republican,
I'm not saying that I
sure.
I'm just saying this is the argument of someone who's like, I like Matt Gaetz. This is why I like Matt Gaetz, and this is what he'd give, right? This is what he'd claim, okay? Whether it's true or not, it's different. It's a different story, right? But this is what he'd claim. But even if you believe that, right? Even if you think that's true, bro, find someone who hasn't fucked a kid to fill that position that has that same value. Okay, that's all I'm asking. Find someone who doesn't have credible accusations, who isn't under investigation by the House Ethics Committee for transporting a child to a sex party for his friends to fuck. Just don't find someone else. Surely there's someone. Surely there's another person that is just as qualified that can do what you want him to do. That's all I'm asking. Please.
I mean, like, I feel like if you vote for Trump, isn't that boat already kind of sailed?
I don't know what to tell you. Like,
the specifics are different, but like the substance is pretty fucking similar. Like, Trump lost his civil case, and he was definitely the one doing the sex pestery.
Mr. Girl endorsed Gaetz. That's good enough for me. Did he really? Or are we just funning with our friend Elder Drazi right now?
I assume if he made a comment about it, it would have been satire.
I don't know. I don't follow Mr. Girl. I have no idea what he says anymore. But that's beside the point. Like, my problem
somebody in my chat said the correct term was trafficked for that girl.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Okay. Sure, I guess. Right? Like, actually, she was just trafficked. Okay.
I mean, if you're taking a child to a sex party of across state lines, that's probably the correct term, right?
I guess. I'm
It's
not a
kind of like
lawyer.
when these kinds of things happen. It's sort of like when like if they're trying to soften it up to make Gaetz look better, they might say the young woman instead of the child. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Look,
So it's probably good that we use accountable language to
yeah.
talk about people doing deplorable things.
And again, this isn't the only time that people have accused him of doing some weird stuff, weird sex stuff, okay? And I understand that we don't put someone in jail for accusations. They have their day in court, all that, right? I get it. But I wouldn't let O.J. Simpson watch my niece and nephew, even though he was found not guilty in a court of law. There was enough there in that trial that I was like, maybe you didn't do it, but I ain't letting you near my kids, right? And I think the same could be said with Matt Gaetz. I think that there might not be enough evidence there to get a conviction from a grand jury or in a court or anything like that, a court of law, where you have to do beyond reasonable doubt. And that's fair. I wouldn't want to hold him to that standard where he's thrown in jail just for heresy and things like that. But again,
The court of public opinion, though,
everything
do you
I'm
think stepping
seeing
down?
around this, right? Everything I'm seeing around this, the way that not only like look, because look, if this was AOC coming out and saying these things, I'm like, okay, they're political opponents. These are fellow Republicans saying this. These are fellow conservatives saying this. In fact, Speaker McCarthy said the only reason he's not speaker now is because Matt Gaetz, or the way he says is this: one person asked him to stop an investigation that was being led by the House into him having had sexual relations with a 17-year-old. And because he wouldn't stop that investigation, Matt Gaetz pushed him out. And that might not be true, but there's enough there that it very well might be. And I don't think we should have someone who people have to wonder, did he traffic that child? As the attorney general, I just think that we can find someone better.
What do you think that says about Donald Trump?
Well, we already knew about Donald Trump. Like anyone who this stuff comes as a surprise or a shock. I was shocked when he was appointing a couple days ago, right? A couple days ago when he announced Marco Rubio as a pick. I was like, that kind of shocked me. I was like, oh, I thought it would be worse. Mike Waltz. I was like, oh, that's not bad at all, actually. I thought it would be worse. When he announced Stefanski, I can't pronounce her name, the UN person, okay? I was like, actually, I kind of like her.
Which one is she? What's the job she got?
UN ambassador to UN,
Okay.
that one. I was like, oh, that's not bad at all. I was a little silly. I thought the Hedgesworth, the Fox News contributor, I thought that one was a little silly. But I was like, okay, let's give him the silly one. But I was shocked at how normal it was. That was what I was shocked at. All this going around now, this doesn't shock me. This is like, this is what I expected.
Who's the woman that got the Homeland Security position?
Kristi Noem, the dog shooter.
Oh. When I saw her, I was like, "Fucking who?" I hate that you said that.
Yeah, the one who killed that dog and threw it in a ditch. Which, to be clear, is gross. But I mean, like it's not even the same ballpark as the other three, the big three that I think shocked me today, or not shocked, but were like, holy shit today, which is the Tulsi,
Gabbard,
RFK, Matt Gaetz. Those are the big three.
I have the biggest problem with RFK by like a landslide, though.
What's your problem with him?
Matt Gaetz is gross.
Mm-hmm.
Tulsi Gabbard, I'm not too freaked out about her. At least I kind of like know who she is a bit. But like RFK is gonna kill people. His track record on health is like it should literally be illegal for him to have any job in health. he I can't remember what country it is. He went to some country in Africa and convinced them to stop using vaccines, and thousands of people died. Like he's not just like anti-vax. He's like an OG anti-vaxxer with like some of the dumbest takes that like predate like the anti-vax movement. Um, he has made claims that like people didn't like like we didn't have autistic people back when he was growing up like we do now, and and has made weird claims about our food and vaccines being linked to that. He's like a walking, talking conspiracy theory when it comes to health, and it is terrifying that somebody can hold a job that is even half as important as the job that he's been given. He is going to kill people. Like Matt Gaetz, fucking gross. It is morally abhorrent that you would elevate him in status to have this job. Maybe he can or can't do the job, though. Maybe he can perform the job to some degree effectively. I don't know. I think he's a bad guy. But RFK, I don't know if he's a bad guy, but he can't do this job. It is terrifying. It is scary. If you have loved ones that have any kind of illnesses, then who regularly receive health care, like monthly, you should be scared that RFK is going to be making some of the most important calls about how our healthcare operates, how our healthcare system operates, what things are going to be and not be allowed to be used in our healthcare system. It is legitimately terrifying. I don't think that we can accurately measure what the death toll will be, but I feel like it is a certainty that there will be a direct link to people dying based on the decisions that he makes, based on everything that I've ever heard him say involving human health. It is wholly inappropriate in the worst way.
Let me read some super chats real quick. Make a little money. Okay, $2 from Zephyr Hash. Loving the new hoodie look. Thank you for the new hoodie. If you like the new hoodie, as some have noticed, Zephyr Hash got it for me. So thank you, buddy. $2 from Mr. Middleman. Hope you're feeling better, Wick. I am a little, mostly. I'm mostly recovered. I appreciate the well wishes. Lumi, it's nice to see you. Yes, I did shave. As I mentioned earlier, someone paid me $500 to shave, so I did. And here we are. But yeah, it's again, like, I have heard many people say those same things that you've just told me, Eldrazi. I've looked into what the Samoa stuff. I don't know if you've heard about that.
That's what it was.
Right?
Yes.
I only have a cursory knowledge, though, so I'm hesitant before, like, kind of diving into that in the way I was with Gaetz, right? But it doesn't look good, let's say that.
He did. All you need to do is watch his interview. He was on Joe Rogan. A friend of mine who was like an RFK supporter said, just watch this and tell me what you think. And I watched it and I was like, dude, what the fuck? He boasts that there's people who are in high positions of healthcare that won't debate him. That there's been money offered. They won't debate him because it is inappropriate to engage with him on the subject. Like, it is like a moral position. Like, no, I'm not going to take money to debate you because I'm not going to give you this platform. It's very clear what's happening there.
And I'll have to watch the interview and get a better rundown. I know he said crazy stuff. I know he's very vaccine, not just vaccine skeptic, but anti-vaccine, the OG anti-vaccine, right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, he said things like there is no vaccine that's ever effective, and that's just not true, right? Like, when I was in the military, we received many vaccines, and I guarantee you they were effective. They kept us safe. They weren't 100%. Nothing ever is. But again, we have a wealth of medical knowledge on this that is just... I mean, it's there, and you can look at it, and you can interact with it, and to say that that all vaccines just don't work. My fear with this,
yes, he has said that.
It's a fear, right? My fear with this is, like, we've defeated several diseases, polio, right? There's a few others that we have
smallpox.
That we have just
one of
defeated.
the greatest achievements in humanity was eradicating smallpox.
And one of the ways we did that was through vaccines. And if we stop using these vaccines, we can undo a lot of the good that we have done. Man, there are kids that are alive today because of vaccines, right? And without them, it is a concern. I'm also concerned with a lot of his takes on things like sunscreen. Like, he doesn't believe in like sun cancer and things. But again, these are things I have to look into more. I'm not incredibly knowledgeable on this, so I encourage everyone to look into these things. Cacophonies, stop fucking lying. You tell me where I've lied today. Show me. Point the lie out. Look at your last statement. Let me scroll up. He doesn't say all vaccines don't work. His issue was that they were granted immunity from damages, and we jumped from like 6 vaccines to 30.
That's not true. He said that no vaccines work. What they did is that this is what he said, that there are toxins in the vaccines, and so they're measuring an immune response that is a response to the toxins, and it is not the immune system is not responding to the deactivated virus that's in the vaccines. It's to the heavy metals and poisons that are in it, because none of them work. That is what he said. That they don't, like, the way that we understand vaccines to work is it allows your body to your immune system to train itself against like deactivated viruses, or in case of like mRNA, like a part of a virus. He's saying that the immune response that they measure to say that it works is caused by toxins that are in the vaccines. And that's how all of them are proven to work. I fucking heard him say it, and I lost my goddamn mind. You don't forget hearing somebody say something like that. It's crazy. Now, what your chatter said is true. He did also say that, but he also said the shit that I just said that he said as well.
He says a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that came from the fucking worm that was inside of his brain. You want somebody who had a worm inside their brain in the highest position of healthcare in the United States. It's insane.
They're sluts for the data. That's what they're saying in the YouTube. Can you, here, while we talk, find the clip, right? Because
I could try.
Yeah, please do.
I watched the whole thing.
I understand. Find the clip if you can. If you can't, and someone else can, please provide the clip, because yes, that would be nice. But oh, shoe boots. Oh, is this it? What am I looking at? Shoe boots. Oh, here it is, right here. Oh, it's right. Okay, this was easy. This didn't take long. Here, we'll go through the transcript together, gang. Here, I'll stream it. Click the button. Click the button. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has used this platform to spread misleading false claims. This is the transcript between a talk between Amna Nawaz and RFK Jr., former presidential candidate. So let's just read the first two things here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has used his prominent platform to spread misleading and false claims about vaccine safety. He is expected to play a big public health role in the next Trump administration. When asked about vaccines in a podcast interview last July, Kennedy said this: "Can you name any vaccines that you think are good?" Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says this, and I quote, "I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably solve averting more problems than they're causing. There's no vaccine that is safe and effective." Pretty clear. It says, are you saying the transcript's lying? Are we saying the transcript's lying, gang? Is this what we're claiming? It might be. Here, let's listen to a little. Maybe it says in the first couple things.
Welcome to the Oklahoma Delta.
Oh my goodness. Do we have to do the commercials? This is why I wanted to read the transcript, by the way. I don't want to do the commercials, but I guess we might have to, so everyone knows. Okay. Okay, yeah, we get to see the cool antelopes, the cool African beasts. Neat, cool, fun.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's used his prominent platform to spread misleading and false claims about vaccine safety, is expected to play a big public health role in the next Trump administration. When asked about vaccines in a podcast interview last July, Kennedy said this.
Can you name any vaccines that you think are good?
I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably averting more problems than they're causing. There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
But
I don't know. Seems pretty clear to me, gang. Okay, can we put this one to bed? We got the clip. We saw it. He said it.
I was hospitalized as a child with the flu. I had really bad asthma, and if I didn't have the flu shot, I probably would have died from it. Just saying. That was the opinion of my doctors. I couldn't even. I woke up and I couldn't move. I was literally paralyzed. I had to be carried to the car and carried into the hospital in a wheelchair. And if I didn't get my flu shots when I was a kid, it almost certainly would have killed me. Vaccines have almost certainly saved my life. It's a really wild thing to say. Not only that, too, it's probably there. Maybe like the antiseptic might be the only thing that saved more lives throughout human history, unless you can think of something that's been more effective at saving lives. And it's a crazy thing for somebody who's going to be in that position to say. It's beyond crazy. Like, what are we doing? How? There are Republicans that understand that this is batshit fucking crazy, and they should be calling this out. They should be doing something to stop this from happening, because they have people in their lives that need medical treatments to live as well. I would say that if you are actively in Congress or the Senate and you're not speaking out against, if you're in a position of power in the United States government and you're a Republican where you have a voice, this administration, since they fucking run everything, right? They have everything.
They won the House, they won the Senate, and they won the presidency. Though, this is maybe an aside, but it's Pennsylvania news and it's important to me, okay? There is a recount going on for the Senate race, Bob Casey versus his opponent. It was looking like his opponent was going to take it. But we're going to have a recount because it's razor thin, razor close. So I'm curious to see how that'll go. I'll be watching it, right? And I'll be looking at it. But,
will that change anything?
It might. I think the Senate's projected to be 53 now. Might be 52 Republicans instead. But
okay, I would say that if you're Republican in the federal government and you're not speaking out against it, you are at the very least complicit in the horrors that are to come with this guy at the mantle of our healthcare. It's people should actually be scared. Like, it should keep you up at night that that's going to happen.
So some people are pointing out to me, and I think this at least bears exploring, that RFK was saying that he meant that there was no vaccines devoid of side effects. So when he was saying there's no safe and effective vaccine, what he meant was that they all had potentials to do harm, but they were some that did more good than harm.
Name anything that you can put into your body that has zero side effects. Anything. Aspirin, food, everything has side effects. You can drink too much fucking water. That's not an argument. If you listen to, I'm not going to say the totality, the bar doesn't have to be that high. Listen to any conversation he has with anybody that he sat down with. If it's an hour plus, listen to any one of those and tell me that you think that that's really how he feels. If you tell me that after that, you're a fucking liar. Or you just can't comprehend human language. He makes it very clear where he stands. Now, maybe he's walked some shit back because people go, hey, RFK, You want to not be a fucking lunatic, since you're getting some real attention here, and maybe he's tried to walk some shit back. That's a possibility.
We got some misinformation in my Twitch chat. No Cow Mike says too much WIC TV can have adverse side effects. That's not true. If you watch too much WIC TV, you become more of a man, okay? Right? Or more of a woman, depending on what you are right now. Whatever you want to be, okay? You grow in knowledge, you grow in power, you grow in virtue. All these things are true, and there is no downside to it. No adverse side effects. So I encourage you to continue watching and continuing to neglect your friends and family in order to watch my show. Nothing bad will happen. I promise you. It'll all be okay. So there you go.
I really like that you claim that it increases your gender. You gain more of the gender you already have. I like that.
Cacophony says, yes or no, was safe and effective the line they were spinning about the COVID vaccine to downplay any threat of side effects? Sure. But what's that have to do with what he was saying?
COVID vaccine was safe and effective.
He didn't say COVID vaccines. He said all vaccines, right? Every single one. And again, it was just a clip, but you guys can do your own due diligence. I'm here to give you my opinion. And again, a lot of people are out here, right? It's funny to see the flip. It's funny to see the flip because yesterday I had a lot of lefties mad at me because I was calling out lefty stuff. Today we're calling out righty stuff. And, it's just damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess. Everyone's going to be mad. But what if you're non-binary, iCalRich? I don't know what to tell you. You become even more androgynous.
The gender from us leaves and goes into the other people that are increasing in their gender by watching WIC TV.
Zero Fox considers RFK a lefty, by the way. By what metric?
Okay. By what metric?
That's what I just asked. That's literally what I just asked. Come on, keep up.
My brain was shorting out from hearing that. I didn't hear you say that at all. I was trying to rebuild my synapses. Oh my god! So why is Tulsi Gabbard super bad?
So Tulsi Gabbard is actually the one that. So Matt Gaetz is the one I know the most about.
Mm-hmm.
RFK Jr. the second most. Tulsi Gabbard, I know the least about. Though I have heard her stances, and I just fundamentally disagree with her stances. So all accusations aside, what she wants to do, which is basically cozy up to Putin, right? To not into Assad in Syria, right? I just fundamentally oppose. I think that's bad ideas. And so I don't know if she's like a Russian spy or a shill. I don't know. But the fact that she has made comments and the things she has said have basically been Russian propaganda makes me not want to support her. That's why I think she's bad. Now a lot of people have got these conspiracy theories about how she's like a Russian agent. I don't know if I buy any of that.
I've read that, but I don't think I've seen somebody ask, is there any legitimacy? I think I seen Lactoid ask on Twitter, is there any like legitimate evidence to suggest this? And I didn't see anybody putting any up. But doesn't it kind of almost feel nice to disagree with a pick based on like policy?
Does it? Like these are really bad policies. Like,
but I mean, the other one we have like morally abhorrent scum human being. The other one is like basically just a fucking crazy person who has no business having a job that impacts other people.
$10 real quick. Sorry. $10 from Dwight Baldwin to say, all due respect to you two. As people who come across as sedentary and eat a lot of processed foods, ironic you criticizing someone trying to get people to eat healthy and exercise. If that's all he was doing, do you think I would be criticizing the man, RFK Jr.? Do you think that my criticism is oh no, he wants us to get healthy and exercise more? Why would I criticize that? I want to exercise.
Did we say anything bad about that? Did we even comment?
I don't think so. My issues with RFK Jr., as I understand it, is that he's a vaccine denier, and this is perhaps also pretty damning, I believe he's going to gut research into vaccines. He's going to gut the Food and Drug Administration's like regulations and things, and it's going to make food that you buy at the grocery store less safe to eat. And I have a real problem with that. Simply exercising more and eating healthier. Bravo, buddy. Like, I think I should do that too. I don't know.
He's like supermarket capitalist when it comes to health. If somebody's putting out a food or a drug that's like killing people, they won't be able to survive in the market, and the market will correct for it. And after it kills people. Yeah, I guess you'll have to get somebody who's really familiar with Tulsi on so I can learn about it, because it seems like you got the Matt Gaetz down pretty good, and I know plenty about RFK. I can't believe I forgot about that. I get so worked up about the vaccines, but yeah, he has. If he has his way, it seems like the thing that'll happen is people will die, and then people will just stop using that.
John
food
from the
or
web says
medicine.
we have no basis to say he's going to get the FDA. Can you give us your basis to say that? I know what I would say, right? He's made a lot of comments saying he doesn't believe that the way that the Food and Drug Administration handles themselves is correct.
Yeah, and like I said too, he wants to have a market approach to regulating what's on the market. He wants to let people die and go, oh, we don't want to buy this anymore. Which I don't know how we're going to investigate what's causing people to get sick and or die from food and drugs if we're not having these regulations in place. Like if I don't think that you can do. I don't think you can do away with those kinds of regulatory bodies without defunding them. So I can't imagine that their investigative bodies are going to maintain their capabilities that they have today. And why would he allow them to anyways if he wants the market to dictate it?
So this is from an article, Stat News. Okay, I'm reading this now. Big changes could be coming to the FDA under a Trump administration. On Wednesday, RFK Jr. suggested he'd fire officials in the FDA's food division, but said he wouldn't pull vaccines off the market. My colleague Lizzie Lawrence did a deep dive on what an empowered Kennedy could mean for the agency. Based on his public statements, RFK Jr.'s agenda could include an effort to eliminate drug company user fees that help fund the FDA, loosening regulation of raw milk, personally reviewing data on vaccines to judge their safety, and cracking down on ultra-processed foods and food additives. Public health experts say there's a fine line between reforms to the agency and dismantling it entirely, and there's a whole article on this. But let's look at just this one, loosening regulation of raw milk. Raw milk kills you, right? Like it's not safe. Oh, thank you for the sub, Testy Johnson. Really appreciate you. Can we please watch this on stream? What are you doing? Okay, we can, actually. I think this is important to the RFK Jr. fans, okay? This is RFK Jr. Let's watch it, ladies and gentlemen. Good find. Let's see what he has to say. You guys ready? You watching with me, buddy? Drowsy?
Yep.
Well, I know a lot now about bioweapons because I've been doing a book on it for the past 2.5 years, and you know, the technology that we now have to develop these microbes, we've put hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there's an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. The races that are most immune to COVID-19 are because of the structure of the genetic structure of genetic differentials among different races. of the receptors of the ACE2 receptor. COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese. But we don't know whether it was deliberately targeted that or not. But there are papers out there that show the racial and ethnic differential impact to that. We do know that the Chinese are spending hundreds of millions of dollars developing ethnic bioweapons, and we are developing ethnic bioweapons. That's what all those labs in the Ukraine are about. They're collecting Russian DNA, they're collecting Chinese DNA, so that we can target people by race.
You see the guy sitting behind him at the end there? He looked at the camera like, I can't believe this shit either.
Well, I mean, look, he's now going to be in charge of Health and Human Services, so good luck, America. Good luck.
I think I said it to you in DMs. I think that RFK position of power is as scary to me as Trump being the president himself.
$5 from Portland is burning. There's an inherent irony to Trump, champion of deregulation, trading RFK the ability to regulate our biggest industries for his endorsement.
I think there's a lot of people that are super
Zero
stoked
Fuck says
on
this
too.
to you. This is to Drazi. Drazi would laugh at the reports of Germany rounding up Jewish people before it was widely understood to be happening.
So you're saying that if there was no credible evidence of something that sounds wholly outrageous to anybody who has a basic understanding of global politics, that I would laugh about it? Yeah, probably. I think that most people don't believe things just because a person says it, especially when it goes contrary to what we understand to be correct, broadly speaking. There's a reason why the things that he says are the minority. Where's all the scientists that back up his claims? Where are they at? How is he so magically able to assess medical information?
Drazi, they've
in
been
this specific way?
silenced by the liberal media. That's it. Okay? They're silenced by the liberal media. They're too scared to speak out because they know that if they did, the liberal media would come after them, right? Biden would send in his attack squads to get the FEMA agents, the FEMA sniper assassins, to take him out.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. All the doctors that came out to talk about the COVID vaccine, to speak out against it, every single one of them had been previously had their licenses revoked, and it seemed like they all support this natural silver solutions or these hack medical things that don't work. Prior to that, they've all been discredited and then started shilling for fake medicine. It seems like all these people seem to have the same sort of pattern that they follow.
Cacophony says, you honestly don't think we've been developing ethnic bioweapons? Which ethnicities are we developing bioweapons for specifically? For the Jews, for the blacks, for the Arabs? Which ones? The Russians? The Chinese?
I like I like the confidence for somebody to say that, as if there's somebody in the lab all right, can we get this to kill Mexicans 5% higher though, and then we'll be hitting our mark, and we'll get more funding to continue into next year. This is what they must be imagining is happening in our bioweapons research facilities.
Hold on, Cacophony, and I'm gonna just quote this. Okay, all of them. You are literally talking about a government that spent money developing a literal gay bomb.
Are we sure that Cacophony's not actually just Alex Jones in your chat?
Was the bomb gay or was it I'm just not sure, right? Like, what was the bomb like? Did it like other bombs, or was this
That's
like
a very good response.
I'm not saying it worked. Yeah, I mean, like,
I mean, to be fair, in all fairness, if our government thought that a bomb could be created to
oh
make
wait,
people
no,
gay,
it was.
we should probably try to
I
figure that
thought
out.
he said that they were going to target the gays and take people out, right? Take the gay people out, but no. His claim is they 100% spent money to trying to turn the enemy gay. You know what? Yes, but that wasn't a bomb. That's Enrico Iglesias, okay? That's what they spent that money to do, right? They didn't. Why would you use a bomb to turn people gay? Look, okay? Hugh Jackman. That's all I'm saying. Okay,
I was
that's all I'm
just gonna say,
saying.
do we
Hugh
really need a
Jackman.
bomb?
That's all I got for you. Why would
early
they use a bomb
2000s
to
Will
do
Smith
that?
exists?
I just don't know how. Oh, Cacophonies, I love you, buddy. I just don't know how to
The
take
bomb
this
is just
seriously.
headshots of John Stamos.
$5 from Dwight Baldwin. Drazi, that a vape pen you got while arguing health?
I'm arguing against things that I think are much, much more dangerous than a vape. And yeah, I vape because I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. It got me off of cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for like 8 or 9 years. And do we think that somebody's ability to understand the implications of somebody destroying our healthcare system is invalid because they make unhealthy choices? Is that really what we think? I'm for people being able to make choices about their health, not somebody taking away our ability to have those choices.
Dating back to 1994, this is from Cacophonies again. The Wright Laboratory in Ohio, a United States, a precursor to the modern United States Air Force Research Laboratory, drafted a 3-page proposal detailing several potential non-lethal chemical weapons. This document, eventually acquired by the Sunshine Project via Freedom of Information Act request, explores the notion of the gay bomb, among other concepts.
That to steelman that, if they thought it was possible, I suppose we'd have to try to develop it so that way we would know. If somebody thought like this could really happen, we'd probably have to research it to know, because like if some other country started gay bombing the US, we'd probably want to try to figure out how to
I just gay bombing the U.S., just like bombing us with the gayest of bombs, right? I mean, like, look.
I mean,
because,
if we're all
here,
gay, then we're not a country in 100 years.
Just because someone like wrote up a proposal to maybe explore a topic, right, doesn't mean that we spent any real effort or energy into doing this, right? Like,
we've also
don't know,
researched like vampires and werewolves with federal funding.
I kind of want this to be true now, though. I want this to be true. I want that to be a thing. I hope that the CIA has, like, we've triggered their like algorithm, right? And their CIA agents are listening to make sure that we aren't going to actually expose the secrets of the gay bomb. Okay, the gay bombs that they have stockpiled in preparation for the homo wars to come, okay? And it's not what you think, because in the future, only the queerest of countries will survive. So they're going to turn these gay bombs, instead of the Russians like we initially planned, they're planning to turn it on our own people, okay? Me shaving was just one signal. That turned like a few people gay, okay? When I grew my beard back, it's going to turn a little more people gay. That's the gay bomb, right? That's what they're talking about. That's what the government has put money. You think that progressive victory money I was getting, like, you think that was to push an agenda, a political agenda? No. That was a cover. What they were doing, they were funneling money into my account because they knew that I was the gay bomb. Not that I'm gay. I'm straight.
And
it's
a dirty bomb.
Ladies, right? It's a dirty, dirty bomb, right? But not that I'm straight. Not that I'm straight. I like women, all that, right? But look, the manly men who watch my podcast, right, are all like, ooh, well, I've never thought about it before, but Anyway, I mean, like maybe, but this is crazy. This is crazy.
I really hope you get a DM from one of your viewers saying that like you woke up there, like you awakened them.
Or feelings I've never felt before. I mean, look.
Yeah, if that happened to me, I would be so mad if that's how it happened. Like that it was a streamer. Like I'd be like, god damn it! Read that.
Once you turn gay, you tend to stay from Zero Fox. Oh man, like I don't know. It's just I don't look. If you think that the COVID vaccine, the COVID virus, then the COVID-19 was released from a lab, fair, right? I think there can be an argument that I don't think that's a crazy belief to hold. Okay, but if you think that it was specifically targeted to spare the Jews and the Chinese and take out the blacks,
and the whites,
true.
Is RFK said the Caucasians and the blacks.
Yeah, I don't know, buddy. Right? Like, I don't know what we've crossed the Rubicon on believability. I'm gonna need a whole lot of evidence to show that, and I don't think you can give it to me. Yeah. Yes,
if it does turn out that there's a gay bomb, we got to call my old roommate. I've never met a guy who wished he was gay more in my life. He'd be so happy.
Just gay bomb, just bombing. Again, I thought he was saying that we were going to bomb the gays, and apparently not. No,
I knew right away.
Gay.
Based on the previous comments, I knew we were a whole level deeper into the InfoWars sector.
I don't know, right? Is it like I've never even heard this before, right? This conspiracy.
I have.
Have you?
I actually used to be an avid Alex Jones listener for a really long time. And I stopped listening to him when he went on Piers Morgan and started like making fun of his accent and shit. And I was like, oh my god, he gets on mainstream media and that's how he behaves. Like, all right, I get it. We're just full of shit here. We're just shitty. We're just pushing bullshit. There's no real mission here.
Oh man.
In all fairness, he is right sometimes about some of the stuff that he says, so it's easy to get trapped in the hole that cacophony is in. And sometimes the things take 5 or 6 years to find him, like, oh wow, I guess he was right. But he also says a lot of things that you should know immediately are batshit crazy.
Like, is there a lesbian bomb like that just works on women? Like, hold on, if we can,
I think they set that off in the 70s.
Can we target gender? Like, so can we have a gay bomb that only works on men or only works on women?
Oh man, it would be a really effective weapon. If they just turned all the women gay,
we're done. That's it.
The men would turn on each other in this country. We'd just start fighting.
Cacophonies, answer me honestly. Do you think that there's developing a trans bomb? Do you think that the government has spent money, research, investment to making a bomb to turn people trans? Sorry, I know you had a lot we wanted to talk about today, Elder Drazi, and we'll get there. Cacophony says, I think the trans bomb was internet porn.
The trans bomb got me so good. There's a bright flash of light outside your window, you're just like, well, I don't care for this thing anymore. Oh man. I've been so checked out of conspiracy theories since like 2016, since Trump got into office the first time. It's really funny to hear what's passable as a conspiracy now.
He has a question for you, a real question. So you have a real question for this guy about the FDA since he's defending it. Okay, ask your question, and I'll ask Elder Drazi. Go ahead. Jacques Zulu says, looking at my own cock turned me gay. Whatever does it for you, buddy. I don't judge. Alzerian says, I'm on break. What am I missing? You're missing the gay bombs and the trans bombs. And
Being gay for your own dick's kind of like hitting the jackpot, huh? You can get exactly what you want every night.
Once Cacophonies types. Okay, here we go.
There you
Please.
go.
Okay, so Wick TV. Please defend the FDA, and they're making all our food corn-based, corn syrup and seed oils. Also, please defend the selling of white striped chicken, all of which they have approved. Go ahead.
I don't think that they're requiring these things to happen. They are simply saying that it is safe for human consumption, and then the market dictates it from there. If you have an issue with those products, you should just not buy them. This is about allowing people to make choices about their health. Like I said prior, the FDA is not there to make us all healthy. It is there to stop us from having being able to purchase poisonous bad products that are clearly not safe for human consumption. After that, it is our responsibility to make choices for ourselves. If you think the FDA is only good if they're only allowing us to consume what is optimal for us, you're in the wrong country. This is America.
He says his response. People can make no choice about white striped chicken. Also, seed oils and their link to cancer is becoming way stronger, and more food has been converted to it.
Hey, I'm not saying that it's perfect. For sure, the what's the artificial sweetener? Sucralose or saccharin, whatever the hell it is. It damages DNA. That shit needs to get pulled off shelves. It's in a lot of energy drinks and stuff. It damages your DNA. The study came out about that. There's certain, if anything, I would say the FDA probably needs more fucking funding.
$5 from Dwight Baldwin. What is the acceptable metric for what is considered a safe food? Well, I'll give you mine, Dwight Baldwin. I think that any food that will kill you if you eat it because it is tainted with disease or something over a short period of time, like a week, would be pulled off the shelf. Or known to like have lead in it or some other thing like that, which would damage you over consuming it for a period of months. But things like having too much sugar in your food is a different thing. It's on a different scale. Does that make sense? That's my answer. Would your answer be different? I'm not sure.
One of the best examples of how the FDA is essential that we've all bore witness to several times throughout our lives is when there's an outbreak of mad cow disease and it gets that meat pulled off the market. McDonald's has several times had mad cow disease infected beef in their supply chain and has been recalled and removed. Not that long ago, we had peanut butter that was recalled and removed, Jif peanut butter. These are the kinds of things that the FDA stops from happening all the time, and you don't even hear about it. The mad cow disease we hear about because it's usually so far into the supply chain to where people need to be alerted about it. But I get alerts every day about products that are pulled off the shelves because they're found to be unsafe for human consumption because of contaminants and whatnot. Yeah, but it really comes down to us being able to make choices within a realm of things being not deadly for us to consume. Because if we didn't have that, people would be like you would have people making cereal and just continuously adding sawdust to it until people could taste the difference. That's not a world we want to live in.
$2 from Seattle. Since when did Drazi get brainworms?
What am I saying that's out of line here?
Is Wick engaged in debate combat? I'm not really debating anything right now. I'm still stunned by the gay bomb stuff. It's wild to me, but here we are. Cacophony says the FDA just approved feeding cows seed oil by products as feed.
Do we have information that says that feeding cows seed oil is going to make the meat toxic for human consumption?
It's the gay bomb. They're going to make the cows gay, which will destroy our food supply, okay? Because there won't be no more cows, and they'll all be too busy watching, like, Oprah and The View, okay? And so they won't get anything done, and we won't be able to eat them. Because if we do, we'll turn gay, and no one wants that. Okay, here we are. Okay, we've covered this. You came. You wanted to ask me some. Stuff. I think we've covered this
Yeah,
a
I want
lot.
to talk about Israel-Palestine.
If you'd like, go ahead.
I have firmly shoved my head in the sand when all of this happened. When was it in October? What was the date?
October 7th.
I've heard it.
Mhm.
October 7th. Okay. October 7th. As soon as that happened, I was shocked because I thought that they had been at war like basically my whole life. That's how uninformed I've been. And then as I've seen things develop, it seems like both sides have such compelling narratives that people feel so strongly on both sides, and there's like no room at all to even hear a dissenting opinion, that I don't feel like I can trust any videos or literature on it because I can't interact with it. I feel like if I read something, the narrative will be so compelling that I will just believe whatever I'm exposed to first. And I don't want to have my mind made up that way. And so I have avoided all of it. I haven't been on any panels specifically about it or anything like that. And so I want, at least at first, can you give me like an overview of the two sides of this? And so I kind of
We're
wonder
asking
who.
like, can you solve the Israeli-Palestine conflict
No,
for me?
can you
quick?
can you give me can you kind of give me both sides of the arguments here? Who's in the right and who's in the wrong and why?
I can.
It's like who's the genocide deniers? Who's the anti-Semites? Are they the same people?
Let me preface all of this by saying I am no means, and honestly, the fact that you've come to me for this, while I appreciate it, it does make me wonder if maybe a brainworm got into your head, right? I'm not an
I think
expert
that
on
you can
this.
tell me what people's arguments are.
Sure. Okay. I am not, again, an expert at any of this. I have my own biases. I don't know everything there is to know about the conflict.
I think you are an expert about what people are arguing on both sides.
Okay.
Because you've had how many panels on this?
A lot.
More than a dozen, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
So, let me give you kind of the very, very top level kind of baby's first argument on Israel-Palestine from both sides, as I understand it. So from the Palestinian side first, okay? They existed in Palestine. Colonizers, Israelis, Jewish people came over, started buying up the land, using other legal trickery to get them off the land, using warfare, violence to assault them off the land, and have been doing so since a long time, right? Since the 30s and things like that, right? And it
okay.
got to a boiling point in the 40s, right? They had their war, and ever since they've been oppressing the Palestinian people, keeping them in open-air prisons, gradually taking their land, both in the Gaza settlement and the West Bank, as well as in
Where were they coming from?
Huh?
Where were they coming from to do that?
All over. All over.
Okay.
Like, I'm giving you the both arguments, so they're both going to be
I'm just
incomplete. And then
trying to make sure that I understand.
Yeah. So, and because of this, right, and because the Palestinian people still aren't allowed sovereignty over their own land, right? They don't control their borders. They are subject to the whims of the Israelis for their own defense in a lot of ways. Their people are killed by IDF soldiers, even when they aren't at war, even non-terrorists. There is a different set of rules for Palestinians that they don't get to decide, but that are dictated upon them from the Israelis, and therefore they have a right to resist this occupation, to resist these people who have come, who've stolen their land, taken their stuff, and basically, kicked them out, stolen their homes. They want a right of return, which is the right for Palestinians who have fled from Palestine due to the wars and aggressions and the deprivations. They want a right of return for anyone who can prove that this is the case to come back and be able to live in the homes that were once theirs. And Israel has denied them this and basically stolen their land, stolen their homes, and this is unacceptable. the aggression by IDF soldiers and the IDF in general has slaughtered thousands of their people, of their children, of their women, who have done nothing wrong, nothing to deserve any of this. And they purposely target, in many cases, the civilians, and this is just wholly inappropriate. They would call it a genocide, many do, how they are being ethnically cleansed from the land, pushed off, so that the last remnants of their land can be stolen, as the Israelis have done for decades and decades and decades. That is the kind of like baby's first argument, baby's first overview. There's so much, right? Like, again, I'm not an expert, but that's kind of the argument. Does that make sense?
Okay. And then what's the other side of the argument?
Well, the Israelis, they legally purchased the land from the Ottoman Empire and from other places, and they were looking to settle there after years, right?
The Ottoman Empire, that's mostly Turkey, right?
Ottoman Empire covered all this area, right, for a while, right?
Okay.
It was a big thing. So they purchased it from these people, right? They legally bought it, right? And the land was theirs. They wanted to return to a homeland after the Holocaust, which was the climax of centuries of persecution by everyone in the world. Russian pogroms, France, Britain, all over had been killing them, raping them, destroying them. They needed a nation of their own because there's nowhere that was safe for them. And Hitler, the Holocaust, showcased that. But again, Zionism, as they would call it, was a thing that had been going on for decades before the Holocaust, right? They'd been doing this since the 1800s, right? They've been trying to get a homeland, and they wanted to go to the homeland of, their forefathers, of Abraham, right? The land that was promised to them, their promised land, Israel, Jerusalem, the temple of Solomon, all this, right? And so they had been trying to do this for years. The Palestinian people, while some welcomed them with open arms, others tried to drive them out. And rather than lay down and die and let themselves be forced into camps, they resisted. They took up arms in their own defense, and they won. They won not just in the war in 48, in the conflicts preceding it, but they won in the 60s, right? During the Six-Day War, right? They won in the 70s during the Yom Kippur War. They won over and over and over again. They kept being attacked by other countries who hated their existence, and they kept winning. The people who attacked them, right? They have no, responsibility to see to their super well-being. The reason, and they have been entirely kind to a lot of these people, giving them better than they deserved. They haven't. They withdrew. They withdrew voluntarily from the Gaza Strip back in the early 2000s, right? After the Second Intifada, after people were literally blowing up school buses. They are under constant attack from these people. Hezbollah, Hamas, the PLO before that, other groups before that, right? That have been constantly killing their people. I don't know if you know the terrorist attack in the 70s on the Olympic Games, where a bunch of PLO people came in and just killed all the Jewish medalists, Olympic participants. They just massacred them, right? And this happens over and over and over again. So again, yes, they have a border wall with Gaza. Yes, they control who comes in and what comes in and comes out. Because if they don't, they get blown up and they get killed. And why would they ever allow any other country to do that? They have tried to work with the Arabs, work with the Palestinians in order to give them their own land, right? They have tried during the with Yasser Arafat. I'm blanking on the name right now of what those accords were, right? But they went and they tried. They worked out a deal. It was rejected. They tried again with the napkin accords, quote unquote, right? They've tried at Camp David with the Clintons, right? They keep saying, hey, we'll give you this, and the Arabs keep rejecting it. The Palestinians keep rejecting it over and over again. So at a certain point, like, I mean, like we've given you what we're going to offer you. We let Arabs into our country, right? They are able to hold positions of government. They're able to participate in our military. They're able to host jobs. What do you want us to do? And with this latest attack, this October 7th attack, Hamas has to go. They stole hundreds of our people. No other country would let that happen. We have to rescue the hostages. And Hamas grossly puts men, women, and children in front of the bombs and the missiles and the bullets. They purposely designed their infrastructure to put their civilians in harm's way, daring us, right? Daring us. And we try our best to limit civilian casualties. If we wanted to, we could do a genocide. We could show them what that word really means. But we have been extra careful in trying to limit the damage of our bombs. That's why you don't have 2 million dead, and instead you only have 30,000 to 50,000 dead. We're going to keep doing it until we get Hamas. And that's kind of the argument here. Like, we have a right to exist. We're not going to let you kill us. And yeah, we'll defend ourselves. That's the argument.
Interesting. I'm really curious. So the land that was legally sold, that was all sold by the Ottoman Empire?
There's several groups. Like I said, I'm not an expert, right? But the Ottoman Empire kind of owned the land, right? And there's a lot of selling being done. The British owned a lot of that too, right?
Okay. That would probably speak volumes to me, because I don't have a very positive opinion
the British
of the Ottoman Empire.
owned a lot of the world in that area at the time. Again, not an expert, please, especially on the ancient history of it, or the ancient history, right?
No,
but
do you know how much of a hand the Ottoman Empire had in it? Because
I don't.
They're one of the few entities that have committed, like, aside from the Holocaust, the largest genocide in the entire world.
Yeah, I don't know.
Genocide.
I don't know. But I know the British had a hand in it. I know the Ottoman Empire had a hand in it. I know that the UN was the ones who ratified the initial borders, right? Or tried to, right? The Arabs rejected it, and so here we are. After the 1948 war, right? But this is the thing. This is why it's so hard, is because there's so many actors. There's so many different people with their hands in the pie, and there's a good argument to be made for both sides, right?
America supports Israel, correct?
Yes. None of the people here. Here's my view, and this is what this is my thoughts. No one over there are good guys. Israel isn't the good guys. Hamas isn't the good guys. The Palestinians aren't the good guys. There are no good guys over there, right? There are groups of people who are trying to kill each other and have been for decades, and they have done various levels of atrocities against each other, right, at various times. And no one's hands are clean of blood over there. That said, if I had to choose between the IDF and Israel and Hamas, I'm choosing the Israel every time.
Wait, these are three different entities? These are three different
IDF
entities?
is the Israel's military.
Yeah, it's like the Israeli Defense Force, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Who's Hamas?
Hamas. Okay, we got to go basic here. Hamas is the current government, quasi-government of Gaza, of the Gaza Strip specifically. There's the Gaza Strip.
So this is opposed
and
to
then there's the
Israel.
West Bank. Okay, so you have Israel proper, I guess you would say, right? Then you have the Gaza Strip, which is on the west side. Okay, you have the West Bank, which is on the eastern side, kind of, right? And yeah, and
it's almost like they made it hard to understand it.
And so you have the different governments are in charge of the different places. So the West Bank isn't run by Hamas. Hamas has a presence in the West Bank, but it has its own kind of governing authority, quasi-governing authority. Israel still is kind of in charge in a way, right?
So who does Hamas align with between Israel and Palestine?
Hamas
Israelis and Palestinians.
hates Israel. Hates Israel. Has been trying to kill him for years. Okay.
Okay.
Hamas took over, was voted in, at least partially, in the 2000s. So after Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip, they had an election. Okay, there's two groups at the time. They had the Fatah, which Yasser Arafat and things like were in charge of. And again, man, I wish you'd give me more time to prepare this, and I'd get all my facts in a row, right?
We can revisit too.
Well, yeah,
just to be clear, Hamas is a governing body, correct? This is the name of this government.
Well, let me again. They're quasi-government body, right? They were elected.
Sure, but that's what Hamas means, though. It's referring to this governing body, quasi-governing body.
A bunch of thugs.
Okay, it's not necessarily like any citizens or anything are automatically a part of this.
Okay, so yes, so
correct.
This is in the now. Okay, Hamas didn't exist back in the 30s. Okay, we're talking about
well, I guess what I'm saying that the area that they quasi-govern over, their citizens aren't like automatically Hamas, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm with you.
Hamas and Palestinians are different groups, but one is over the other. And some Palestinians are Hamas, most are not. But some are, right? So
all Hamas are Palestinians, not all Palestinians are Hamas.
Well, maybe. There are accusations that Hamas is actually run and basically a puppet of Iran. So, you know.
Is this like a legitimate claim?
Yes, there's some pretty good evidence that this might be the case. That they at least help fund them. Whether or not and how much control they have over them, it is what it is, right?
Okay.
But yes, there's absolutely tons of good evidence for this. So, back in 2007, 2006-ish, what happened was they had an election after, again, Israel removed itself from the Gaza Strip, dragged Jewish people out, basically, and said, okay, here you go. We removed ourselves. They still had the border wall. They still controlled the access, right? So it wasn't really removal, but you know what I mean. Okay. So what happened was...
They said you can stay here.
Yeah, kind of. Okay. Again, Israel's gone through different governments that said different things.
Is it like, it's still my house, but you're allowed to, this is your room in the house, but it's still my house? Is that how it went, kind of?
No. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just giving you the overview.
Am I at least asking the right questions here to try to understand this?
Yeah. Who actually owns the land?
Just trying to see if I'm at least following on the right track here.
Yeah. So back in the 2000s, after this had happened, they held an election. Who's going to run our government? They elected a mixture of Fatah and Hamas. Hamas had gotten a majority, but not a plurality, if that makes sense, right? They didn't own like all the government, but they had quite a few of the positions.
Over 50%, like less than 80% kind of deal. Gotcha.
Ish. I don't know the exact number, and I'm hesitant to say.
Sure.
After that, about a year after that, maybe less, Hamas took everyone who wasn't them and threw them off roofs.
Oh.
So everyone in their government, all the Palestinians, right? The Fatah people, things like that. They took them up and they killed them. It was a coup. And
what was the fundamental difference between the Fatah and Hamas? How did they delineate? Why did they care?
Good questions. Different hard lines, right? Like I can't give you like the Hamas was much more hard line against Israel than Fatah was.
Okay, so they were more lenient with Israel.
Joe Lewis says, like, where have I been wrong here so far? Like, again, I admit I'm not an expert, so maybe I'm wrong. Oh, Hamas is more religious, Fatah more secular? Probably as well. You don't know the difference between Fatah and Hamas? I mean, I know that there are differences, and I know that Hamas...
Does that play into why they'd be more amenable to Israel?
Probably.
Because they're more secular? Okay.
I mean, look, I can't give you just. I'm Joe Lewis. I'm not going to say things that I don't know are true. So if he asks me, give me a delineation 100% between Fatah and Hamas, I can't give you every single way they're different. But I can tell you that Hamas was, at least at the time, and still is, to my knowledge, far more hardline against Israel. And they killed the Fatah who were in the government that they were supposedly sharing, and they murdered them.
And furthermore, to Joe, maybe tomorrow or the next day that we both have free, I'd be happy to hear. I want to talk to people about this that I can ask questions to and push back when things don't make sense to me. So, like, we can have this conversation in the future too. This is how I want to learn, so that way I can answer the things that confuse me in real time. This is how I'm choosing to approach this subject. So, if you have issues with what Wake's saying, hit me up. Let's talk about it. But this is so confusing where I'm at right now. It's probably not great to derail him while he's trying to explain it to me. I'm open to anybody who wants to talk to me about it, as long as they're not going to get ass mad when I push back when I'm confused and trying to get things understood. Is that fair?
I don't know. He could tell you if he thinks it's fair or not. But he already said, Joe Lewis, that he doesn't want to listen to a one-sided view of things, and he feels that all these videos, all these essayists, all these so-called academics are all just either pushing a very pro-Israeli or pro-Palestinian narrative, and he would rather not engage with this like that. So this is his choice. He asked me yesterday to do this. I said I'd give him my best overview that I could, and we're doing it live.
The more I learn, the more I'll be willing to hear one-sided arguments that I can push back against and try to understand. But I need to have a foundation to hear these one-sided arguments from.
So over the years, Hamas and Israel have been at war. I say war, in conflict is a better term.
Sure, yeah.
We've had different Israeli governments deal with them differently. Netanyahu, the most recent and current Israeli government, the Knesset, right? Has
When-ish did he take power?
20 years ago. 20.
Okay.
Shortly after this, right? 20-ish years ago. He's been in and out of power in Israeli government for a while. They tried to kill him a couple times. Assassins did. And his predecessor, one of his predecessors, was actually assassinated. The guy who's trying to work with Yasser Arafat on getting a deal done for a two-state solution. An Israeli actually killed him. A hardline, far-right Israeli activist assassinated him. So yeah,
makes sense because he didn't want to have any opinions. Gotcha.
But as we go, right? So that's the 2000s. Okay. There is a blockade that Israel sets up, keeping out all sorts of product. The claim is, or Israel's claim is, that they want to keep munitions and other things, Iranian funds and guns and things from Hamas, because Hamas has indicated that they are a hostile power, a hostile government. Again, Hamas was one of the major groups who was bombing them, right? Who was shooting rockets at them and things like that. They developed an Iron Dome to deal with this. Okay, so
basically, they're doing what anybody who could do this to their enemy would do if they could get away with it.
Yes and no. Look, they did a lot, and I don't have the.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong to.
Sure, I don't have.
But like, if Russia could do it to Ukraine, they would do this as well, right?
They would do far worse. Okay, right? Like,
okay,
yes. Yeah. And so you have a situation where Israel is attempting to control the influx of resources. Palestinians obviously resent that. Hamas blames the issues that Palestinians are having on Israel and the blockade. Hamas also tortures and imprisons anyone who tries to work with Israel, right? Tries to make peace, tries to engage in some kind of talks and things like that. Anyone they can get their hands on, okay? While you have all this happening, okay? I know it's complicated, but you got all this happening over in Gaza. We haven't even talked about the West Bank yet, Okay? So you have all this happening in Gaza. Meanwhile, you have the West Bank. The West Bank isn't controlled by Hamas, right? It has a whole different group in there. And Israel is letting settlements be basically built up, illegal settlements on the West Bank land, the Palestinian land, okay? And
So the
it's
West Bank is
encroaching.
occupied primarily by Palestinians, and Israel is like pushing into it.
Yes, basically.
And by whose metric is it illegal that they're having these up?
Apparently, the UN international law metric.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
That's good grounds to say illegal. Okay.
Yes. Now, again, we haven't even got to it. There's a lot of accusations of anti-Semitism against the UN, and the whole relationship of Israel and the UN has been fraught for years. A lot of the countries in the UN have at one time been at war with Israel for various reasons to destroy it.
I want to ask you a loaded question.
Go ahead.
It's inherently loaded, but isn't anything that isn't going to benefit, that's going to not benefit Israel, can't this automatically be skewed as anti-Semitic no matter what, because it is against a body of people that are Jewish?
So there were a lot of people who would tell you that, but that's just not true. Simply opposing Israel is not anti-Semitism. It never was and never will be. There's a lot of Israelis who oppose the government of Israel. Israel.
Oh, I just mean by like if the UN did something that was against what Israel wanted, would this be inherently labeled by Israel as anti-Semitic?
Yeah, well, they always will call, like the government of Israel will always call anything that goes against them anti-Semitic. Yes, that's
okay, sure. So it would be like if you did anything that affected me badly, I would say like, well, you're just bigoted.
It's like you're
towards
racist.
Taylor.
It's like, oh, you the cops arrested me because I had all this drugs on me. They're racist, right? That'd be the claim, right? But what
okay, I just making sure that I kind of understand.
Now this is
when people say
this
there's claims
goes
of
both
anti-Semitism
ways because people use
Sure.
as a shield to say, well, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm just anti-Zionists. But that's also kind of
that's
bullshit,
the one thing that I
right?
do fully understand.
Okay.
I'm not racist against black people. I just hate crime in poor areas. Okay.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
I
understand.
Friends,
I understand
right?
doublespeak pretty well.
Or
I've heard Hassan's chat.
look, okay, yeah, like this is why this is insanely complicated, right? And it's something that's beyond the scope of a single sit down to kind of go through and talk about, because
this is my primer. That's all.
Sure. So you have a situation, right? And let's fast forward to the night October 6th, okay?
Yep.
And we're skipping over a bunch because there's been several different operations from Israelis into Gaza, into other areas, right? That problematic at best, right? They say they're justified. They might even be. Hamas has been basically using a system of tunnels that they have dug, a set of infrastructure that they have dug out, and has been firing rockets into Israel for years, thousands and thousands and thousands of rockets. So this is a situation you have, okay? It had largely died down.
Who did October 7th against who?
Oh, that basic. Okay.
I put my head in the sand. I ran from this.
Oh. So on October 7th, members of Hamas broke into Israel. They broke out of Gaza. They broke through the border, and they attacked everyone they could find. They first attacked...
It was like at a concert, right?
That was one of the targets that they had. They hang glided in, and they attacked concert goers who had been having a concert outside of the Gaza Strip. They killed and kidnapped dozens of people, right? They killed hundreds. They went through some of the different cities or the towns. I forget what they're called. They have a word for it, right? They went through and they killed everyone they could find. They videotaped themselves doing it, and they posted it all over social media. And it sent the world into a tizzy. Hamas was breaking out of its open-air prison. They were gonna stick it to Israel, who'd been oppressing them for years. And they killed men, women, children, burnt their bodies. And there's clear evidence that they used rape and other things.
I was going to ask if
yeah.
if there was anything
Yeah, the
substantial
UN
to say that they were
the
raping
UN
people
has
too.
done a report on that and find there's credible evidence that rapes occurred on October 7th. We have videos.
I'm not trying to be gross. I'm trying to get the scope of the atrocity.
Mhm.
Was this just to like adult women, or was it like children as well? Like, what's the level of like
I don't
atrocity
know.
here?
So I don't know if specifically any children. Like I don't recall any.
We'd
right?
probably know, right? If that was the case.
Probably, but the problem with this is there's been so much disinformation on all sides that it's really hard. It's really difficult. But from the UN report, there was credible evidence, right, that there was rape, that there was other sexual assault and other such things. They found corpses where they had nails nailed into the female parts, if you will, right? Like, and these other things, corpses with their pants around their ankles and their underwear around their ankles, things like that. Pretty horrific.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking gross.
Yeah. Obviously, this pissed Israel off. Okay.
Sure.
And so Israel declared war, and it is currently in a war with Hamas in Gaza.
Does anybody think that shouldn't have happened?
Yes.
Is that
a ton of people were calling for ceasefire before the smoke had cleared from October 7th. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like anybody would probably want to go to war if you're raping and killing your people. But even if you had it coming, you're probably going to declare war. You probably have to. Politically, you have to.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, continue.
Even more people started to oppose it as it has gone on because they think that it is being conducted in a way that doesn't. Well, they call it.
Yeah, I think that's different at least.
Yes.
And right? Is that what people who would say? Like, most people agree that it's different to say that it should stop now rather than you shouldn't have done it.
And I do judge the different people differently, right? Like the people who were saying things like, what did you think decolonization meant? Vibes, papers, essays on October 8th. I place them in a different category than people who 2 months in looked at it and said, you know what? I think Israel's conducting this in a way that is just over the top, that is not justified even by the attacks. And I think that's horrific. I think that Israel is trying to genocide or ethnically cleanse this land, and they should stop. And I put those things in.
Does this side think that basically they're just waiting for something like this to happen in order to do this kind of thing? Is that the argument?
Excuse. In fact, some will even go to say
we were already ready to go.
Happened, right? They let this happen. So.
Like it was basically an inside job.
Some have said that too, right? There is these
false flag accusations and all that.
Yeah, that the Israelis killed more of their own people than the Hamas people did. That most of the people who were killed
they literally worked with them.
No, that they they would fire rockets indiscriminately into the crowd to kill Hamas. So to hit the one Hamas guy, they would blow up 12 of their own guys, right? That kind of thing.
So they can say, "Look what Hamas did."
That they have. They blamed it all on Hamas when a lot of it was friendly fire. That's their.
This is the rhetoric.
That's the claim.
Okay.
Yes. So, as it has gone on, Israel has continues to declare that they are not going to stop until they kill Hamas leadership. Sinwar has recently been killed, so not all, but most of Hamas leadership is now gone. They also want to get their hostages back, and they have gotten some of them back, but I think there's still 100. Yeah, I think there's still 100 still missing. Whether they're alive or not, your guess is as good as mine. But they have conducted several rescue operations fairly recently that have rescued live hostages. So,
has there throughout any of this, has there been any attempts to financially bargain for hostages?
There's
or anything
been
like that?
some hostage exchanges that have been done, where Palestinian prisoners get released in exchange for some of the hostages. There was some of that. did happen. Yeah.
Okay, so at least that's good then. That's probably the way we want to see things like that happen. I think everybody
would-
thinks that's good.
Look,
Yeah?
hey,
Is that something everybody agrees on, that this is good?
I think so. Ideally,
Okay.
look, if I was king of the world and I could wave my magic wick wand around, snap my fingers, poof, Palestinian gets a state. All the Israeli hostages get released. All Hamas leadership is dead. All Hamas soldiers are in jail, right? And hooray! And then Israel withdraws back. Make sure that the Palestinians get rebuilt. Gaza gets rebuilt. We get them all the resources they need. They have a great government. We come in, neutral party comes in to kind of help them get on their feet and not have a repeat of the Hamas throwing the other government off the roof, right? And make sure that Iran doesn't just send it its next puppet regime or whatever.
So is what you're suggesting, because this is kind of what I was thinking, in that is like the idea would be that, like, all right, you guys separate, and then let's say, just for example, we send the United States military in there to like sort of like guard things and say like nobody's fucking around. You guys just do your shit. When things we'll leave when things chill out. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Yeah, if
This
I
is
was
like
if it was me, if I was in charge, I'd go and sit on the region. Honestly, I know no one wants to do that for very good reason, right? But yeah, that's what I would do. I'd just go
It's
in,
just
I'd
babysitting.
sit, and I'd make sure both sides acted like adults for once in their lives. But no one wants to do that.
And this would be, I understand this would be what a two-state solution would be, correct?
Yeah, and it would take years, honestly, and we would be there for years.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And you would help them hash out borders, and you would enforce those borders. And yeah.
So what is your take here? What does that make you? Does that make you a genocide denier or an anti-Semite?
Both. If depends who you ask. Right? Like, look, I'm not, because I don't chant death to Israel, even though I've condemned a lot of Israel's actions. I think Israel has gone too far. They're totally out of line in several of the things that they've done. I still believe that they have a basic right to get their hostages back. Right?
You think they were initially justified in declaring war?
Obviously. It's just obvious that yes, if your people are attacked and killed and taken captive, then you have the right to get your captives back, right? And if you have to use force to do so, by my blessing, okay?
From my most thin-brained, this is my first introduction to understanding, it seems like you have to, otherwise, like, how are you even a government?
Well,
like, it's like a demand of you, as if you're a government body, you have to respond with force to something like that. Otherwise, you're inviting anybody to come fuck with you as much as you want. Right?
Well, yes. If this had been answered with like nothing, it would have just kept happening, right?
Yeah.
They would see,
and maybe even you're inviting it from even other people then as well.
Of course.
Anybody.
Yeah, you have to respond.
Okay. Is that? But you say that's contested as well.
Well, of course, yeah. Like, there's a lot of people who say, "Well, no, we need diplomacy." And what does it even look like, right? Like, again, in an ideal world, yes, there would be no bloodshed. The people who did the bad thing would be held to account, and we would be able to get the hostages back without a shot being fired. We don't live in that world. We don't. You had to go in. You had to kick down doors. You have to do what you need to do to get your people back. A government has a responsibility to do so, a moral responsibility to do so. You have a moral responsibility to protect your citizens, right? Even if it means at the expense of other people's citizens. And that's just it, right?
Like, yeah, I feel like if any country attacks another country, you have to respond with force. Otherwise, you're compromising your security.
Yeah, the argument from pro-Palestine side would be, right, is that, well, no, this isn't, like, October 7th was us retaliating against your attacks, right? Which is why any conversation will go tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat, back decades.
All the way.
Until, right, like, it's so unclear who started what, right?
Sure. And it's never really just been chill?
No, it's never really just been chill over there.
Okay.
Not for the last 100 years.
So, like, no, like,
Before
1
then,
year
perhaps,
stretch of...
right? But for the last
what's the
80,
longest
100 years,
stretch of like no conflict? Is it measured in months or years?
when you say conflict, what do you mean? Because
Where one side isn't actively conducting military operations against the other.
Oh, there's been good question. Again, depending on what you consider a military operation.
What's broadly considered military operation?
Like
what's generally accepted
Hamas,
as it?
like here's the problem with it. There's a lot of groups, not
Is
just
it
Hamas.
is this an individual actor or is this like the group?
Yeah.
Is that the
that would be
Sure.
the thing. Like what a lot of Hamas would do, right? When they would be under a ceasefire and then rockets would be shot into Israel, Hamas would say, "Well, that's not us. That was just a rogue agent." Right? So does that count as conflict?
There's at least plausible deniability.
Yeah. So does that count as conflict? I mean,
I fucking hate this. I hate this
hard
a
to answer
lot.
your question. And
yeah,
is it really peace if one side is blockading the other?
Yeah, I guess you can certainly commit warfare without firing a bullet too. Yeah. So I guess that version of that would be like economic warfare then. Yeah.
Yep. They would say that you're blockading us. You're not allowing us to have the food we need to eat. This isn't peace, right?
And so if I account for economic warfare and rogue agents, it would probably be measured in months and not years then.
Yeah.
Correct?
Absolutely.
Any chance we can just all the rest of the countries just like take them all out and just leave that land alone forever?
No. We have so many different interests in the region, right? So
that was sarcasm.
One of the things with America, right? Like we get a lot of our tech from Israel. Like it's not just a one-way alliance. You know those little chips that everyone's crazy about in the CHIPS Act and those little microchips that people were talking about in Taiwan. And one of the reasons we fear China invading Taiwan is because we'd lose access to these little chips. Well,
I know.
one of the biggest producers of those chips outside of Taiwan, Israel.
It's GPUs.
Yeah, so we got a lot of geopolitical interest in the region.
So, and therefore, like everybody does that.
Yes, that's true. And not just geopolitical interest. There's a lot of religious interest in the region. There's a lot of just moral interest in the region, right? A lot of people putting power plays into those things, right?
And Hamas is Muslim, yeah.
Oh, not as Muslim as some, but yeah.
Who's the other?
Hezbollah and other things, right? Like, so
okay,
I can't properly like look. This is beyond the scope of what I know, right? I can't properly rank the religiosity of each of these.
Would you say is it accepted generally that Hamas is a like religious extremist group?
Very little is accepted generally, but yes, I think that people would consider it an extremist group, whether it's religious or not.
Who's Hezbollah?
So ISIS would be more religious than Hamas.
Okay, sure. Would you say like more religious than American white nationalists, but less religious than ISIS? Is that kind of where we could place them?
I don't even know how to. I couldn't rank you. Who's Hezbollah? I can answer that question. So in Lebanon, there is a quasi-governmental group. It's not the government of Lebanon. It kind of is. It kind of isn't. It's Hezbollah. They control a lot of Lebanon, and they've been at war and not at war, right? And in conflict for years. They fought wars against Israel. They fought wars back in the 2000s, right? They're currently at war right now.
Are they quasi-government in the same way that like ISIS is?
No, they're not quite.
Are they more or less?
I can't rank these. I can't do it.
Is this at least comparable to how ISIS is like a quasi-government in certain regions?
Even that's so loaded. I can't really.
Well, like they literally like they do. I know that ISIS literally acts as the government in a lot of areas.
Hezbollah acts as the government in the areas of control. How's that?
Okay, and it's in conflict with the primary government, or no?
Nah, it's more of a like, you don't screw with us too much, we won't screw with you too much kind of deal.
Okay, yeah.
Again, this is very vague and broad because I have only a very vague understanding and broad of the inter-political climate, the conflict between Lebanon proper and the Hezbollah. They are intertwined, right? This isn't as easy to
and
separate.
how do they have any stake in Israel-Palestine? What's their involvement here? I'm asking the right questions, at least, right? Am I?
Yeah,
or am I just
you're really testing the levels of my knowledge here.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. There have been territorial disputes between Hezbollah and Lebanon, and also Hezbollah has been in conflict, and Lebanon has been in conflict with Israel several times in its history. And yeah, we're here.
Is it over land?
Yeah.
Does Lebanon share a border with Israel?
Yes. The northern border.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, now is any of the land that they contest, is it at either Gaza or the West Bank? Or is it Israel proper?
Let's say that one more time, please.
The land that they're contesting, is any of the land that Hezbollah is contesting part of Gaza or the West Bank, or is it more of the Israel proper?
I can't give you I don't know if I don't know
I guess what I'm asking are any parts of Israel or Palestine being vied for by more than just two groups? Or is Israel fighting with Hezbollah only when they're fighting over land? Or is there areas where Hezbollah, Hamas, and Israel are all fighting over the same areas?
Well, Hamas and Hezbollah fight each other in Syria. Okay. They fought each other in Syria, at least.
What the fuck is Hamas doing in Syria?
This is all super connected, brother. It's really hard to dissect this.
I know I have a poorly and for certain geographically incorrect map I'm trying to draw in my head here.
Yeah,
to plot this out, but
because there's a lot of foreign actors in this. Saudi Arabia has their fingers in the pie. Iran has their fingers in the pie. Jordan's trying to stay out of it, right? But like Egypt's trying to stay out of it and things like that. Like there's all these little places of conflict, okay? It's really hard to kind of separate.
So I know you can't answer a lot of stuff. Who do you think that I should talk to get a nuanced answer to some of these? What?
Quibbles over coffee? A lot better than I do. Socrates, I think he's a lot more pro-Palestine than I am. He would have a pretty good understanding. None of these people are experts by any means, right?
1 second. Let me get my notebook.
Sure. None of these people are experts, okay? But they would know more specifics and more details than I. Here's my thing, and here's how I make these like judgments that I do. You
seem to have been pretty heated on some of these things in the past.
Yes.
And so Quibbles is
coffee.
And he's what side is he on here?
Pro-Israel, yes. More pro-Israel. None of them are like 100% one way or the other, right?
And then Socrates is what side is he on there?
More pro-Palestine, yes.
Cool.
Yes. But here's my kind of like, because we are getting to the end of the show here. Here's kind of my overarching principle that I use to make decisions on what is right, what is wrong. Okay. Regardless of what happened in the 40s or the 30s or the 20s or the 50s, okay? We are here. This is a state of play today, right? Israel, as a country, was attacked on October 7th, right? You could say the attack was justified. That doesn't matter. They killed innocents. Israel has the right to respond. I think Israel has gone overboard in several instances and in several ways. That doesn't make them the bad guy, but it doesn't make them the good guy either. At the end of the day, as long as Hamas exists, Palestine will never be free, because all the horrors and atrocities that Hamas conducted on October 7th against the Israeli people, they first practiced against the people of Palestine. We have thousands of hours of video of them torturing anyone in Palestine who is suspected of collaboration with the enemy, quote unquote, right? Of working with Israel, quote unquote.
And people support this too.
Well, you don't. If you live in Gaza and you don't, you get.
Well, I mean, political streamers. There's people that are pro.
Oh, yeah, they would say, yeah,
Hamas
you got to
that
get those
support that.
Quislings. There are absolutely people who say, yeah, you got to get those Quislings, right? You got to. They're
Quislings.
traitors, right? They're people who work against their own people.
Okay.
Yeah. So, again, yeah, I don't think Israel should be destroyed. I think Israel is a better place to live for even Arabs than Gaza is, than Iran is, right? Than a lot of these other places are that want to destroy them. I wish that they would tone it down. I wish that they would be far more restrained than they are. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to live with their decisions. And as long as as long as they're under attack, they have the right to respond. That's it. That's my take, right? Like, again,
you would say that
and I want
basically about
Palestine
anybody.
people to be free. I would love it if they had their own land. But again, as long as Hamas exists, that will never happen. It just won't.
What
Hamas has
side
to
of this
go.
wants a one-state solution?
Both sides want a one-state solution.
That's right.
Right.
I actually remember thinking that when you were saying. So basically,
It wasn't
only
always the
outsiders.
case, but
Is it basically only outsiders that like suggest the two-state solution?
there are people within both groups that want it, but
It's the
right
minority on both
now-
sides.
right now it seems to be the minority, unfortunately.
Okay. And anybody without stake in the game would probably think this is best, yeah. Because the only reason you'd want a one-state solution is
I mean,
because you're
That's
invested.
not necessarily true, right? I've had people who have no stake in the game advocate that Israel should just take it all, right? And they've made arguments for that. And I've had people come in and advocate that Israel should cease to exist and the Palestinians should just take it all.
When they say take it all, does that mean kill everybody in Israel and take it?
They would say, no, we wouldn't kill them, right? They could choose to live with us or they could leave, right? That's what they would say. Now, what that would involve realistically...
That sounds kind of anti-Semitic, right?
Well, I mean, both sides say that. So, right, the Israel people would say, oh, no, the Palestinians don't have to leave. They can, they can join our government or whatever, but they'd have to abide by our rules and things like that. And we'd be able
So
to
either side would be enacting an apartheid on the other side.
Yes, it would be ethnic cleansing either way, honestly. Anyone who says we could destroy Israel or dismantle Israel without an ethnic cleansing is living in a pipe dream. It's just never going to happen. And there's different state solutions, right? If you ask even people who support a two-state solution, if you ask what that looks like, if you ask 10 supporters of a two-state solution, what does that look like? You get different answers.
Does it sometimes still just look like an apartheid?
A lot less times, yeah. No, I can't think of a two-state solution that would be just apartheid. Not off the top
I
of
didn't
my
know if
head.
some people advocated for a two-state solution. Oh, double speak. Advocate for a two-state solution that's really just a one-state solution.
Well, that's the claim both sides make, right? That, you don't actually want a two-state solution. This is just actually, going to lead to our destruction.
God. I hate this so much.
Look, it
is just
really
as bad as I
poor-
assumed it was.
This was a really poor overview. But like in the time I had to work with, hey, let's talk for an hour on this. What you get? Okay.
I guess I
Hamas
just want to ask
aggressed in
you in
October
your
7th.
chat.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to ask you in your chat just so I kind of have a beat on this. Am I am I in the right headspace with the questions I'm asking to be open to learning about this? Does it seem like I'm approaching this the right way to get a good understanding?
What do you think, chat? I'll let you guys answer.
Because it's actually really important to me because I've avoided this, and if I go into it, I want to go into it right.
What do you think, chat? Toby wants
And
to
I'd
know,
rather
he
get
says,
like a
yeah.
myriad of answers.
Asshole says more people should approach subjects like this guy is doing. And again, please, I am not an expert, and I want to reiterate, right? Double check everything I said. Make sure I'm correct. I'm sure that, especially when you're asking me about like, what is the religious, what's the religious differences between Fatah and Hamas? And I'm like, okay, right? I can't give you a really good answer here. I'm sorry, buddy, because I don't know.
That's fair.
But yeah.
Also, I know this is
Rabid
obviously
Wombat
fine
says,
and
by
down.
having Wick explain it to you off the cuff, there may be better options. Fair enough, right?
I don't know if there is because I trust Wick to not lie to me. I can tell when Wick was giving his own bias when he's talking about things because I know him. And this is very important to me in my first exposure. And I know we're winding down. I want to, I guess, since I know that you're going to go offline, I just want to say in about a half hour after this ends, I'm going to be watching a Terrence McKenna documentary. It's the second one I've done. If any of your viewers want to come and check that out, he's done a lot of like, he's like the guy for like DMT and mushroom experiences from like a long time ago. He's built his whole career talking about them and all that. One of my chatters put me onto the one documentary. It was very, very interesting. It was pretty cool.
So, in
everybody who watched the last one was very good.
I want you guys to go check him out. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for talking to me and giving me some, like, I didn't get a full week planned over the weekend because I was sick. I had a fever and I couldn't really do much. So I appreciate
doing
giving
okay
me
now?
some content. Yeah, no, I'm better. But it sucked. I shaved my face and I got sick, and like Samson with my powers and the beard. But yeah.
The AC where I'm at was making me sick for like a whole week, and I was like hacking up a lung the whole time I was streaming. I had a hoarse voice on the election night.
Mm-hmm.
Did that go good for you at least?
The election night went well. Not the results, but the results in my chat, right? Like, everyone went well. I hope people enjoyed it.
I don't know if you know this. I actually got paid by, there's like a streaming platform that's like trying to get going. They paid me $140 to stream the election just on their platform exclusively.
Ooh, fancy.
And I had leader that this dude was like pulling up stats for me left and right. It was a very good stream, and they paid me like next day. It was very cool.
That's really cool, man. Oh, that's awesome. Good on you.
Made me feel appreciated.
Get that bank, brother. No, but it's been an interesting time post-election. We're gonna have lots of different talkings. On Monday, we're gonna talk about the DOGE department, the Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Vivek and Elon.
Oh my God! I didn't realize that it spelled that.
Yeah, the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, it is what
I supported him like a year and a half ago. I was going to debate Portland on it, and I'm so fucking mad at Elon Musk for turning into like the worst version of like what people made him out to be before he became it.
And then we have on Wednesday, I'm going to be having a group of various individuals come on and talk about the cabinet picks in detail. People from the left and the right, people who support the cabinet picks, people who oppose them, people who are in between. That should be fun. On Thursday, I'm having Brianna Wu and Dev from Short Fat Otaku. They're going to be coming on. They're going to be talking about the election aftermath. Got a great lineup next week. It should be fun. And then Tuesday, I get this fixed finally. So.
Oh, congratulations, man!
Yeah, it's been a.
Are you nervous?
My biggest nerves are they're going to rug pull me again on it. I've had that a couple times. Like, oh yeah, this will totally be the time, totally be the day. Oh nope, we gotta do this first. Ha ha ha. But they've said that this is going to happen.
I wish the best of luck to you.
I have the money ready to give them, right? Like, I'm like, here you are. Let's see if they do it. But they told me Tuesday.
I've been lucky to
10:30
have the best
PM or
dentists
not PM?
ever.
AM.
So I hope it goes good for you, man.
Me too. And we'll have a nice smile for everyone at least. And this saga can be put to an end, but we'll see, right? But thank you for the bits, Vetter Methodist. Gang, if you've enjoyed this, if you've hated it, hit that like button anyway. Hit that subscribe button. It's been a time. It's been fun. The most annoying part of all of this to me is there's going to be people who will watch my little off-the-cuff overview and be like, well, he didn't mention the
I
attacks
felt bad about
on,
that the whole time.
Yeah, he didn't mention the attacks on 20. He didn't mention Operation Cast Lead, or he didn't talk about this. My pet peeve of the conflict. He didn't even mention it. And I'm like, man, like, look, I got an hour.
Every time I asked a question you couldn't answer, I was like, I feel like I'm putting you on blast, man. I mean, I didn't mean to.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I don't know, I don't know, right? And I told you going in that, like, bro, I'm just a guy. Like, we're here, but I'm glad you trust me. I do appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have both on stream and off stream. You've been nothing but kind to me.
I try.
You've been a friend off stream, and you've been a very cordial professional associate on stream every time. So yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for doing your best for me that you could, and thank you for Wix Chat for being sometimes interesting and sometimes completely batshit crazy to very funny.
It's the gay bombs. It's gonna be a meme now. Maybe I'll get an email made up. But thank you, gang. We'll talk to you guys later. I will see you guys on the flip side Monday. Have a good time. Bye.
So.